Okay, hopefully this is recording. Just trying out some more video options here. See if I can get a nice overhead view. I recently got a hold of this retail copy of DreadBall, so I thought I'd take this opportunity to open it up and just take a look through. And I guess you can watch me do that if you want. I like the retail box. My favorite part, having not actually opened it up, is this window here where you can see the guy. I think that's pretty spiffy. The Kickstarter box didn't have that. I'll show you the Kickstarter box. Hold on. See here, it's the Kickstarter box. About the same size, but no window. It says Kickstarter backer instead. What have I got in here currently? Oh, look at that. I got some minis in here. And pitch. What else we got in here? I don't even know what I had stashed in here. Let's take a look in here first. So we got a pitch. Oh, I like this pitch. This is one of my favorite pitchers I designed. I did this for, I think, the first Adepticon that I went to. No, Gen Con, because it's got the General Control Games on it over here in the corners. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, I really like this one. I like the little circles I did for the ball launch. I got the NADC, let's see, logo on there. And almost like what is it, the diamond plate metal texture, just the sort of runs underneath subtly, the whole thing. Yeah, I really like that pitch. This one, this pitch here, similar elements. I designed that one though for the Bread Doll blog. It's got, Bread Doll written on it. It's got more of a metal texture as well as the diamond plate. This is actually it's probably my current favorite. I do like the circles on this one that this one doesn't have. This has the Bread Doll logo. I like the little circles that kind of fit the ball as you launch it along the line. But let's see what I've stashed in here. Some Veerman. Some Judd one. These look like the minis I loaned to my buddy Rob when he first got interested in the game. He ordered it pretty quick, through the DreadBall 2 Kickstarter. So he added a bunch of teams. He was getting this, but he wanted to start playing. So I loaned him a bunch of teams to start up with. This looks like Marauders and Brocker. This says Convicts on the box, so what do we think's in there? Yeah, what do you know? Some Convicts. None of these are painted. They're just, quick and dirty basing with, quick and dirty facing, just so that my buddy Rob, hey Rob, could give it a go. This is like the signed art that came with the Kickstarter. Oh, I got a whole pitch in here. This is the old rules for the Martians. Doesn't have agility and doesn't have the new stats on it. The new rosters. I just mostly, when I write up a roster, I just use like Excel to calculate everything for me. I guess I was doing a default roster. I actually made cards, team cards, so I don't have to use a roster for the default teams. If it's not a default team, I like having Excel calculate all the points for me. Yeah, this is the new pitch. It's okay. I like it all right. Whoop. Oh yeah, those are for Ultimate. They're the sideboards for Ultimate. I guess I've tucked them into the board here. They just go on the sideline. You can track your tokens. There wasn't room on the Ultimate board. You can sort of see some of it here, right? There wasn't really room. You know, there was room enough for just a little sub bench, no sin bin. I can't remember if there was like a common sin bin that was. They're all falling out everywhere. I actually helped with the design for the Ultimate board. Yeah, no, not even a common sin bin made it through the final version, which is why you need these things. They have your sin bin, sub bench, a spot for your cheerleaders and coaches, your action tokens and fan cards maybe, and tracking which player you're spending your action token on. I like that a lot more in first edition DreadBall, the tracker, because all the players really had to be numbered 1 to 14 because of the way the card mechanic worked. For those of you not familiar with first edition DreadBall, basically the card deck was different. The cards, the events were mixed in, whereas now, as you may or may not know, the event deck is sold separately. It's a whole separate thing. The events were mixed in to first edition DreadBall's main deck, and a lot of times you'd have to sort of apply the effect of an event or really whatever to a random player. And to determine a random player, all the cards had basically a random number generator on the cards, which you would use to figure out the random player numbered 1 to 14. So your players weren't numbered. That whole mechanic of the game didn't work. Kind of broke down. And so because your players were numbered 1 to 14, that action token tracker, that action token tracker was really handy, because definitely you knew that your players you were using were going to be on that tracker 1 to 14. Anyway, so this is the retail box. Let's take a look at this. As you saw, I just peeled the plastic off it. I've seen unboxings done by other people, but I'm imagining I have most of this stuff. Okay, so these are the captain cards. I designed my own team cards to essentially match this, to mimic this size and the whole thing. Well, they didn't cut the corners. I'll fix that in a minute. I'll show you. I got this cool corner cutting tool. Okay, it's the minted catalog. Cool. Okay, so this is what comes with the game for the team cards, right? For your default roster. They're great. I like the card stock. They're really great. And they have all the fluff on the back. The ones I made don't have the fluff. I really tried to streamline it so that I could make them this size, right? I basically took this and shrank it to this size so they could all be sort of kept together. And what I plan on doing is these, well, they're great and they match my team cards that I made. I'm going to shrink them and make them half this size so I can have a standard poker-sized deck of captains and MVPs. Again, the fluff is great, but for just reference purposes, I don't need it. So what I'll do is I'll take the stats and sort of squish it down to make the front, the picture and everything. And I'll take the abilities and I'll put them on the back. I think that'll make a nice... I haven't printed those up yet. I haven't finished designing them yet, but that's my plan. Okay, so here are the captains. That's cool. Romeo Blue and Natal, I believe, right? Yeah, Romeo Blue and Natal. Natal, in my opinion, he's one of the best captains in the game. He's got alert. No, doesn't have alert. He's got duck and weave. Yeah, and stubborn. He's got backflip, but, you know, good luck knocking him down. because he's got agility 3 up and duck and weave. So, and he's a striker. So he's rolling 5 dice on 3 pluses. You better throw some threat on him if you want to do anything to him, because that's the only way you're going to hurt him. Oh man, I love that little insert. And this, I'll tell you, this is one of my favorite. The Neobot Guard. I love that model. I love it. The plastic these were molded in doesn't hold the detail as well as I would hope. But the detail's still pretty good. And when you paint it up, let me grab a painted one to show you. Oh, see. So here he is, just in the plastic. Cool model. Like I said, one of my favorites of the new ones, the Neobot Guard. And here is my painted up version. Yeah, so you can see, he paints up really nice. At least I think I did a pretty good job. So one of the things the retail box here does is it comes with the bases glued on to the minis. Not my thing. I have a whole miniature basing system that I developed for DreadBall that I love. You can go read about that on breaddoll.com. Bread, like a loaf of bread. Doll, like, a kid's doll.com. DreadBall, bread doll. But yeah, I did a whole article there on how I developed my basing system. It's magnetic. I love it. It's amazing, in my opinion. Some lazy people just throw blue tack on there, stick them on. If they don't glue them, they don't magnet. No, don't even get me started on people who use blue tack. The worst. I'm kidding. Dice. I like these. The ones that came with the Kickstarter, I was not a fan of. They were cool in that they were all like translucent marble material, but as you know, in DreadBall, the 6 explodes. So if you're going to put a special icon on the dice, it should be on the 6, because that's the special side. Unfortunately, in the Kickstarter, the special DreadBall icon, which all the dice came with, very cool, but it was on the 1, not on the 6. So I have not used those once. I think I threw them in a bag and threw them in a drawer somewhere. Tokens. Oh, interesting. The retail tokens, the red's exactly the same as far as I can tell. The white, it's almost like off-white. It's like almost like a blue-gray as opposed to a white. Interesting. So, minis. Again, all glued to their hex bases, which, really for retail, that's great. You buy it, you take it home, they're instantly on the bases, right? You throw them on the pitch, and they're standing up. The new bases have the facing carved or molded right into the, can you see? Right into the base. So, yeah, you just get them right on the field, right out of the box, and, awesome. Great for someone who's maybe not a miniatures gamer, but they wanted to try, DreadBall. They heard good things, because why wouldn't they? DreadBall is amazing. And yeah, they can play it right away. It's got a quick start guide here. Just read this, and it's got like a whole how to play example rush in it. I've never actually played through it because I was familiar with DreadBall from years and years ago, a first edition. But I've read it. I've never played through it. It's decent. It sort of picks up in the middle of a game, like late rushes of the game, so that you're not, slow starting up, positioning and whatever. Components and everything listed on there. That's great. Okay, now here's the retail rules. I did not have this. I got the big book, the compendium that came with the Kickstarter. I really like the compendium. It has everything. Like, this is just the rules for the basic game, right? the compendium has the league rules, the ultimate rules. It's got a bunch of, this one I don't think has the pictures of the miniatures. The other one's got pictures of painted minis. It's just awesome. I love the compendium. A lot of people, you know, I've seen posts where they're like, oh, it's too big. It's whatever. It, you know, if it's too big for you, I mean, it's a book. It's essentially, you know, like a centimeter thick. Like, how is that? I don't know how that's too big, but I don't know. Little people maybe. Books too big. These are the tokens. The eye in the sky, the ref, the ball, which, I mean, it's the new ball, which unfortunately is really small in second edition. I think it's almost too small. It's fiddly. I don't use it. I still use my first edition balls. I'm going to say balls a bunch now. It always comes out sounding ridiculous. I think I've measured this little DreadBall that comes in the new set with my calipers. I think it's like 6 millimeters in diameter. Way too small, in my opinion. The one that came in original DreadBall is probably bigger by at least 1 or 2 millimeters. And I mean, that might not sound like much, you know, a millimeter, 2 millimeters, like, psh, was that like nothing, right? But, you know, it makes a difference. It really does. It makes it easier to see. It makes it easier to pick up. What was nice in this one is they kind of gave some thought to how is the ball going to stay on the base of the miniature. So I don't know if you saw, I put him away in the bag, but when I held up that Neobot, he had a little hole in the front of his base. All the bases have that. And the ball, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that through the plastic. The ball there has a little peg. And I don't do it because, like I said, it's too finicky for me, this small, tiny DreadBall in second edition. That's my taste, my preference. But it plugs into that hole on the base and then, you know, carries it around. I have a base system I like. It's magnetized. That includes a magnet for the mini and a magnet for the ball. So I just click the ball on there with magnets. It's good to go. And the cards. So I believe in here is the main deck for the game, which is great. Mantic points, which are great. You can use these. There are like several DreadBall minis on the site that are exclusive that you can only get with Mantic points. 4 in this set gets you a great start to, I think there's some for 10, some for 15. Can't remember if they're 20 or 25 point ones on there. There might be. And this also has the captain cards. The captains, these guys, Romeo Blue and Natal, they have rules for cards. They get special cards they start a match with if they're on your roster. And they do, you know, fairly powerful things. They're more powerful than a regular DreadBall special or event. If you can get a captain on your roster, you can afford it, I'd go for it. Anyway, I like, you know, I love DreadBall, so more minis is more minis. That's great. These are cool. I didn't have these. Like I said, I made my own. I'll show you those in a second when I fix the other cards. Tokens. More tokens is always great to have because I can run more games, you know, at the same time, show people how to play. I like this little rule book. As I said, I don't mind the big one, but just for showing it to somebody new, they don't need the league rules and whatever to look through it and learn it. So, I mean, it's not worthless. I would never say that. Oh, look at that. Look at that. The corner came apart. Looks like it was already taped together. Held together with tape or something. That's not fantastic. Okay, so let me just grab my team cards. How's our battery holding up? Looks like we're still recording. Okay, so I made up some of my own team cards. Basically, the idea was they'd be sized. Bump the table. That's great for recording. They'd be sized like this. Instead of those big sheets I showed you, they'd be sized to match that. So here they are. So like I said, I didn't have those captain ones there. What I did have was this Blaine one. I bought the Blaine MVP. He comes with his MVP stat card. right? Very similar. The MVPs all have like a blue background here. The captains have a color that matches their team coloring. And again, same kind of back, fluff on the back, bigger picture and some fluffy text. Anyway, you can see I fixed Blaine already. I sort of rounded his corners. I think I used the tool to do it. I'll grab that tool. But anyway, here are my team cards, right? You can see they're the same size as the captain cards. You get the whole team, abilities and level ups on the back, team on the front. This is a custom team. This isn't one of the default rosters. This one is my sphere team. Nope, I am wrong. That's the Nemian, that is the default sphere team. I do have custom ones. Oh, here's a custom one. That's my mutant team, Unnatural Selection. I did a couple of them custom. There, here's my Asterian team, Quantum Dragons. This is the default Brockers. Another copy of my Asterians. Okay, so here's the Neobot custom one I did, which matches. Now, what I did do, so you can see here, I've got Romeo Blue on the team sheet. Because I didn't have the captain cards, I figured, quick reference, I'll put the default roster, including the captain, on these cards. So again, don't really need these. They're cool to have. And like I said, I'm going to make them smaller. And I'll probably just do the MVPs, not the captains in that smaller one, because I already have the captains on the team card, which makes sense. The captain's part of the team. So when you're building a roster, it's got all the costs. Now on the default roster, you get 0 of the captain, because he doesn't come on the default roster, but it still has his cost and his stats and his abilities. Everything on there. You can see that. Right? On the back, you got the abilities and the league advancement tables. I'm gonna fix those guys around their corners. Matsudan, Jugwan, Z's, Trontech 29ers, the Veerman, the Marauders, Forge Fathers, Kalishi, Adelarena, Crystalline, Sudoshin, Chorus. There's the Indige, Tree Sharks, to go with the tall. But you see he's on there, right? What I'm noticing is the image. You can see this picture of Romeo Blue. It's a different picture. Where'd they go? It's a different picture than the one I have on my card that I did, right? Different pose. That pose, I believe, let me see if I can see him in there just to confirm. Yeah, that pose is the slightly more dynamic Kickstarter exclusive pose of the Neobot Captain. This, where he's a little more static, both feet are on the pitch, his arms are just sort of hanging at his sides, that's the retail version of the, so same model, same stats, just a slightly different pose. If you get your hands on the Kickstarter one, I like it better personally. It's a little more dynamic. He's sort of in a running pose with one of his arms held out in front of him. But, it's the same model. Anyway, so yeah, I did a bunch of them. I really did all of them. Martians, Extreme Team, Cyborgs, Zor. Yeah, all of them. Like I said, I've been doing custom ones for my teams as I've been taking them to tournaments. Now, unfortunately, I didn't have time to do it for the last tournament I went to, where I took Sphere. Just didn't have time. Ran out of time with painting, and life gets in the way of things. You got other things to do. Anyway, let me show you the little tool I have. Where is it? To round the corners. I know they make cheapy little ones for crafting, for like corner rounding, for what do they call it, scrapbooking. Yeah, let me see if I have one of those that I can show you in comparison. I mean, I know I do, so whether I can find it, yeah, I doubt I'll be able to find it. But Give me 1 second. Looking. This is exciting. Exciting video. Just listening to me drone on. I'm gonna get like 3 views. I don't even know who I'm talking to. Here, I actually found it. Okay, so this is a corner rounder, right? It literally says that right on it, corner rounder, and it's just a little punch thing. It's like a hole punch, but it rounds off the corners. It works just fine for these. Right? You stick it in. Oh, jeez. Okay, you stick it in, and then you push down, and it snaps off the corner. Now you got a nice rounded card corner on there. You know, great. It works great. It's way more affordable than the other one I bought. This one's more of a tool, right? It's again, same idea. It's just a hole punch, a corner punch. You just stick it in and punch through, you know, rounds the corners. This one, being more of like a heavy duty tool, this one would do probably, I could probably stick 3 or 4 or 5 of these cardstock things together and punch them all at the same time. I could probably punch plastic with it. I don't know if it'd do metal. Might punch through or punch the edge off a corner of sheet metal. Not sure I want to try it unless I really had to, because it would no doubt, I don't say no doubt, there's the potential, if it can't punch the sheet metal, there's the potential that the sheet metal damages the cutting edge on this thing. And then, like I said, you know, it's not unaffordable. I think it was 20 bucks, but 20 bucks for a corner rounder when I think this one was $3. So, you know, and this one you can feel it. I mean, you can't feel, but it's cheap plastic. If you bought one, you can tell. It's definitely, this one's for, you know, cheapy scrapbooking. I really don't know who this one's for. Maybe it's for your more discerning scrapbooker. I don't know. Anyway, I enjoyed this one just because it's much more durable and sturdy. Feels like a proper tool when you use it. The other one feels like a pencil sharpener or something, like a cheapy pencil sharpener kind of thing. Anyway, so yeah, now we've rounded these. They'll fit much better in this deck, which is great until I print up my new ones. But again, I'm not going to print them up for the captains because why? I have them on my custom cards. Yeah, anyway, I guess here's all my home and away cards, some reference cards, you know, different home and away. We do these for the DreadBall blog, the different tournaments that we sponsor. We make sort of themed home and away cards. Home and away cards were a thing in first edition DreadBall. You could use them to determine who was the home team and who was the away team. And then, you know, as the home team, you'd take your home card, set it, you know, down at your end of the pitch. You'd stick your fan cards, your fan checks underneath it to keep track of them. These are some reference cards I made, again, for the DreadBall blog. The back is obviously DreadBall themed. Just coaching assistant abilities and cheerleader abilities. Super helpful to have as a reference when you're playing, if you can't remember. Here, another set of home and away cards, another set of Origins, and that was Adepticon League in a Night. Those are some Indige Captain cards. Another one, C4 League in a Night. Event card. I think you got that event card. It comes in the tournament pack. If you're running a tournament, you buy the tournament kit from Mantic. I think it comes with some of these event cards that you can give out to the players. These sleeved ones, they were just my Indige captain cards. I think I used the Indige at League in a Night at Adepticon last year. And so I had the captain cards all sleeved up and ready to go. Anyway, yeah, I just throw these when I go to a tournament or I'm traveling. I take this little case, just pretty handy. It's got the zippy bit over here for cards or dice or tokens or whatever. And then it's got a couple of trays for your team. A couple of teams, whatever. These are my bases for my basing system. Some older ones, the newest cutting edge tech, Mark V I call these ones. This one is a Mark II. Mark I is the original. Anyway, read the article. Go to DreadBall.com. Check that out. I think, for me, it was a lot of fun over many years to evolve and perfect my base system. Anyway, this video's gone on longer than I intended, and probably no one's ever going to watch it. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. I'll probably do more of these. Maybe I'll get more of you to watch. Anyway, have a good night, have a good day, good morning, whatever time of day you're watching this, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.